I think I'd like them to realise how valuable they are and what a significant other they are to the children that they teach. And they might not think of themselves as teachers, but people who support early learning and care, but actually, in the eyes of the children and families, they are significant others like teachers. I think that's important to recognise because there's a value to teaching, and it's called learning. So we want our children to have that. And their role as an individual, as a human resource in that playroom, that classroom, that outdoor space, is really important. Now, I think the fundamentals are first and foremost recognising every child as an individual and developing a relationship with that child and knowing that child. In addition, the contextual literacy that comes from knowing the community that child has come from helps you to plan for the learning for all children. I see too many classrooms in which some children are ignored because of their behaviour, because of their English as an additional language, because they've learned strategies to avoid the educator. And relational pedagogy is the bedrock. In addition to that, the second thing I would like delegates to take away is the intentional pedagogy. What is it that you want children to learn? And I don't think it's enough to say that we just follow the children's interests, because of course we do want to follow children's interests, but children also like us to plan stimulating, interesting play and behaviour routines that they can engage in, from which they're stimulated and motivated to want to talk, to write, to collaborate, to engage with their peers, to engage with the environment, whether it's cooking or something to do with exploration or a book. And the role of the adult is important in that. And this afternoon, I also want to talk to them about how adults can sensitively engage with children's free play as well, and that there is a continuum of play which needs to be understood, and the children move through the years, the early years, from where play is the main activity to where learning becomes the main activity, and that happens over 5-6 years for children from birth to 6. So we can't just talk about play as one thing, and most people normally mean free play, but so often that takes out the role of the adult. And of course, children do need free play, but it's not everything. The guiding that adults can do while children are engaged in play is very important. So for instance, a child might be making a palace, and the adult can say, "What are you doing?" And the child says, "I've made this palace, I'm going to," and tells a little story. And the adult can say, "Fantastic, it looks beautiful, well done." An intentional pedagogue might say, "Oh, that's interesting. You'll have other parties there as well. I can see where you've put the door, but I wonder where you're going to put the windows." The child answers the question, and then the adult might say, "Oh, do you think that's going to give you enough light in the palace?" There's a difference between those two pedagogies. One adult is engaging in sustained shared thinking with the child. The other actually is stopping child development. So the third thing I want to draw attention to, so the first was relational pedagogy, the second was intentional pedagogy, the third is our awareness of child development. We've lost that over the years, and we tend to talk about global things like play or child initiated. But we do need to understand the role of child development, because without that, we don't know what to do with the curriculum and the pedagogy. Curriculum, which is content, and pedagogy, which is the form that is in which children experience that. And then when they come together, we call that learning. So understanding a child's developmental needs is pretty important. And we do sometimes find when we're working with early years educators that they don't fully understand language development, say the role of vocabulary or grammar, or why you need to model complex grammar for children as well as simple grammar, and why you need to offer children rich language experiences that extend their vocabulary, and what is the role of vocabulary in being able to develop receptive and expressive language, which is what children need in order to be able to communicate their feelings, their thoughts, their ideas. The very essence of learning and thinking is in those components. And our staff find it difficult because sometimes they haven't had child development related to language development, scientific and mathematical concept development, or how children develop their attention span, or what are the kinds of experiences children should have to be able to be enthusiastic about STEM. So those are making those connections between learning, curriculum, pedagogy, and so on, are at the heart of helping children to learn and move forward.